we end up, getting guys like, U Douglas, that pro department actually traded for U Douglas. Yeah, it was one of our second round picks. But, we had, I'm going to have to think of all the guys, but 4 or 5 of them end up being Pro Bowl players, and our big left tackle, can't remember his name now, but out of Florida State. But anyway, long story short, then we had 2 third-round picks, and they both played. In fact, one of the returner was out of Notre Dame, and he was, guys, I tell you what, that's a long time ago. I'm trying to think of those guys. But anyway, we end up, get things rolling. Ray Rhodes was the head coach there, and we got the things going, and but it was great. We had a corner named Love we brought in there. He played at Toledo. He ended up getting a Super Bowl ring out at when he was with the Ravens then. But we had Ike Reese. He ended up coming out of Michigan State in the 4th round. He was a Pro Bowl special team player, things like that. So I can't remember those guys. I guess maybe I'm getting all these new players in my head. I could tell you those guys back then that turned the program around.
Dan, I think what year was that again?
98.
I think if you do a Google search, Eagles 1998 draft, it will actually sort of not share the story the way you did, but you can sort of fill in some of the blanks that you might not be recalling today.
Yeah, it was. I'll tell you what, it was absolutely unbelievable, the players that we drafted and helped turn around the Eagles, and then in fact, a lot of those players played. I was more concerned about all those free agents that I signed, like the Hollis Thomases of the world and stuff, guys like that. I never even put them up on the board until the last minute, because you always got some office guy that wants to tell his buddies in some other team about something. So I used to never put my free agents up there until the last minute, and things like that. But anyway, we in fact, the thing was really funny. The big tackle, we weren't going to draft him, and we were going to take a corner out of Miami named Starks, and so I called the agent. The famous agent down in South Florida, Rosenhaus, and said, "Hey, we're going to take your corner, at 10." And he said, "Well, it's going to be tough to do because the Ravens are taking him at 9, So then that's where we go back and say, hey, we got to take this left tackle. And anyway, he played pro ball for 10 or 12 years. I think he's a coach now at the Eagles, and he made the Pro Bowl several years. And but he was on our sideboard, actually. We had him off the board for a background deal, but then we took him off that and put him up there and drafted him. So, but anyway, it was very interesting. But with even more interesting, I can't remember the guys that we drafted that year, but it was really an outstanding draft. Almost all of them made the Pro Bowl or what have you, and it kind of got the Eagles rolling toward. I can remember when we drafted Bobby Taylor, out of Notre Dame. He was one of my guys in my area that we really liked and stuff. But that was actually after Bobby was there. So, but anyway, sorry that people got to check that '98 draft out and see who he drafted. I might have to do that too, because it was really interesting. But
it's great. It's a great story of how football guys can come together and actually sort of prove the people at the top wrong and do it without them. I thought that's what was great, and certainly if it's happened since, I'd love to hear that story. In any case, Dan, I wanted to thank you again for coming onto the show and talking NFL draft prospects and the draft with us. For our listeners, that was Dan Shonka. You can follow Dan on Twitter at ourlads_Shonka. That's ourlads_Shonka. Go to ourlads.com. They help you think and talk like experts of the NFL draft and free agency. Subscribe to their draft guide and newsletters, which I promise you won't be disappointed by. Dan, thanks again.
betcha. My pleasure. But hey, I got it right here. Trey Thomas, first round.
Trey, yeah.
Yep. Jeremiah Trotter in the third round, who was Pro Bowler. Alan Rossum out of Notre Dame, he was my guy too. That out of Notre Dame, they ended up being one of the top returners in the league. Brandon Whiting, defensive end, inside guy from California. Clarence Love, the guy I was talking about, we took in the fourth round, another fourth rounder from Toledo. Ike Reese, fifth rounder out of Michigan State, and we took two guys late that were really good players, but they were injured when we took them, and they didn't really play. Chris Atkins from Texas, and then Melvin Thomas from Colorado. But anyway, Trey Thomas made some Pro Bowls. Jeremiah Trotter made Pro Bowls. Alan Rossum, the return guy, made Pro Bowls. Brandon Whiting was an outstanding player for the Eagles, and Ike Reese made Pro Bowls. So take that out there, fans.
And with that, Dan, Keith, take us to a quick short break, and we'll come back and close out the show.
Okay. You're listening to the Fantasy Greeks NFL Power Hour on Late Night Sports Radio.
Who the hell can wait till morning? Talk now at latenightsportsradio.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to the FantasyGreek.com's NFL Football Power Hour. I'm your host, Jim Saranteas, and we've got Keith Grieve over here from 87 Sports Fans. Wow, hey. We had a tremendous hour of NFL draft talk and NFL draft prospect talk with Dan Shonka of ourlads.com. Go check out their site. They have one of the premier draft guides and newsletters in the industry. Definitely gets my recommendation as a great source of information, and you should subscribe to it if you can. Keith, what'd you think about it?
I thought it was a lot of information to take in. It was great. It was a fantastic interview. I had one question that I couldn't find a chance to wiggle in there, and then it was over and gone because you guys were like moving at like light speed, and rightfully so. That's not a criticism, but then the moment was gone. My question was irrelevant. But what is the difference if you're an NFL team between Todd Gurley and Marcus Lattimore?
Oh, that would have been a great question. I wish you could have asked that of him.
Yeah, I mean, I know Lattimore had double, or whether it was two. It was both knees, or was it the same knee twice?
I think it was both knees.
I think it was both knees once. So
yes,
I understand.
At least both knees once, and then maybe one knee twice.
Yeah, so I understand the rehab might be a little extensive from having it go through it twice, but
yeah. Well, now's a great time to be talking about the draft, if only because it's 78 days away.
Yeah.
From today. Do you believe that?
No, I really don't.
Yeah.
But even that sounds like it's so far off in the future, but it's really not.
It's half a football season, for Christ's sake, It
really is. And while we were on I tweeted on 87 Sports Fans. I was looking at ourlads.com, and they have the past drafts as long as they've been around. So I was reliving all the Bears drafts from 1998 on. And oh my God, you want to know why teams I cover the Bears for the fantasygreek.com. I'm a Bears fan, so they're close to my heart. So I tend to defer all my arguments to them. But you want to talk about why teams like the Bears go through periods of time like they're going through right now on their defense. It's because they draft like crap. And you'll have one draft where you get the likes of Lance Briggs and Matt Forte, and you get a cluster of people that are successful. And then you have like 6 or 7 drafts in a regime where nobody of consequence comes from that. And it all adds up. It is so critical. And that's why if you're an NFL fan and you don't get excited about the draft or interested in the draft, you're really missing the boat, in my opinion, because it's so crucial. And you don't have to hit on your first round pick. I think it's more crucial to hit on the 2, 3, and 4 round picks than it is the first round pick. I mean, it helps if you're really good at picking out that star talent, but there's so much blow up and smoke and mirrors when it comes to those high profile players that I think it's even harder to judge those players than it is the guys that are under the radar. My personal opinion.
Well, and you hit on a great point, and that's absolutely true. I also think when you follow a site like Dan's, Our Lads, it sort of gives you a perspective on how to value players, and also to realize that there's a time and a place to take a player. So, for example, the Bears, Shea McClellan was a player that I thought was drafted at least 1, likely 2 rounds too early. And at first, it seemed like he was going to work out, but it just hasn't worked out since then. And you start valuing as to how, it's a tough business. It's a tough job to be a general manager, to draft a player, and to be so invested that you take him too early. And it does. And he may be a great player on the practice field, and there's a place for him, but it just wasn't in the first round. Mm-hmm. And maybe it was just too much to live up to. I don't know. But also, when you follow somebody like Dan, I remember 2 seasons ago, great example. Dan had Eric Fisher ranked just ahead of Luke Jokel. And the big question was, who was Kansas City taking with their first overall pick? And I decided I'm going to stick with the player who, in my mind, was the better left tackle, and that was Eric Fisher. And so when I was asked the question, who are they going to draft? And the other person asked the question at the same time as I was an NFL insider, my response was, well, regardless of what the media is saying, I think Kansas City takes Eric Fisher. I think Kansas City recognizes he's the better left tackle despite what the media is saying. And obviously the NFL insider says, oh, my sources are saying it's going to be Luke Jokel. It'll be Luke Jokel. There's no way it'll be Eric Fisher. And when it turned out being Eric Fisher, I got to tell you, made me feel pretty good.